9 o'clock on the dot.
I know.
Woo! Got our little notes. It's like our teleprompter.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Ooh, we got one in.
Yeah, I just saw that.
And one.
I'm just-
Oh, two.
Two. We got two.
We got two. Three. Ooh. Yes. Filter in, people. Filter in. Let's get started.
Okay.
Hola. Spears like Halo. I think you're like, you got to be in like the top 3 biggest Cantina fans, so we appreciate you.
So we have some Star Wars news, some Marvel,
some Marvel news.
Yeah, well, some Marvel stuff, and then we have a few questions regarding some upcoming shows.
Oh yeah.
And a live on-air sneak peek at Luke Skywalker. Who you'll see.
That was the sneak peek.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys caught it.
Yeah.
So the 4 that are in here right now. Ooh, let's see. What is Spirit Like Halo? I always try to join when I can.
He he. Don't forget the he at the
We
end.
appreciate it, guys. No, really, we do. We love y'all. Slowly but surely, we're growing the channel. I think people are starting to kind of learn our cadence, and I've heard from many popular YouTubers this is the way to go, that when you're consistent with it, then we start to get more viewers. And sure enough, it seems like it's slowly but surely taking off the ground. But you know what? Slow and steady wins the race.
Exactly.
So I appreciate you guys. Oh, Carlos is in the house. What's up, dude? Carlos is one of my Insta fans / friends.
Yep.
So him and I are gonna probably get together pretty soon here.
And he had
Talk some hot toys, some business.
And he brought up some discussion points last week, and he was like, "Oh, I'll save that for next week." So
yeah, he did. Yeah. Okay. So feel free. If you guys were here last week, if you're here next week, hopefully you are. But if you were here last week, start throwing down your answers. You know, I tasked you guys. Is it gonna be who is best suited to play Grand Admiral Thrawn? I can't talk tonight.
I know.
Grand Admiral Thrawn in the upcoming Ahsoka
And why is
series.
it not Robert Downey Jr.?
And why is it not Robert Downey Jr.? Yeah.
Hey, Tyler.
Oh, Tyler's here.
And we got
Bigs and Bricks. We got a full house. You know,
we got Whoopity. Whoopity has purchased some Legos off me.
You know what makes me so happy tonight is that we not only have some Christian's Lego people, but I have some of my Black Series and Hot Toys collectors in here. I'm so happy you guys are here so that you can appreciate these reveals and this news that I want to share with you.
Yeah, so why don't you kick it off? And if you are just joining us, we are going to do a sneak peek at the very end of this. If you want to see my custom Mandalorian Luke Skywalker, which is custom printed,
which is badass,
and yeah,
it's the best custom he's done, and that's right after Darth Maul. So wait till you guys see this.
I said the same thing. It's like getting better and better.
It is. You're upping your game. Like you're figuring out a way to take the new custom to like the next level. So Hot Toys for life.
I gotta get my episode 7 Han Solo.
Yes, you do. You should bring him on the show like in the coming weeks. All right, let's kick things off, guys. You guys know how it is. If any of you are new here, which I know there's a few of you that messaged me beforehand that had never really watched this show or hadn't watched it live. So we start off with product reveals that have happened in the past week since we were here last Thursday. So without further ado, we're going to start off with some Black Series news. We have a couple new rumors, and those rumors are Ponda Baba, which is the ball sack chin guy in A New Hope, and the guy that like basically threatens to kill Luke at the cantina, which is Cornelius Evanezen, which I didn't even know they have like these complex of names. But it's Star Wars, so of course everybody in the trilogy has an awesome name. So they are rumored to be coming out in 6-inch form, and of course I'm going to be getting them just because they're funny characters. I mean, I don't really know anybody, including myself, that's like an actual fan, but it'll be nice to have them on the shelf nonetheless. Also, I don't usually do this, but I'm diving into some vintage collection reveals. If you're a vintage collector, for the Star Wars Vintage line. There were some good reveals. They haven't officially released product images, but they're almost officially confirmed that an IG-88, a Queel, and a Return of the Jedi Palpatine will be coming out in the Vintage line very soon here.
Now, is it going to be an IG-88 or an IG-11? Because, like, I mean, there were some minor differences, but I see it. If it is only one of them and not both of them, they're probably going to do an easy recolor, slight retool, and suddenly re-release it.
Yeah, I think it was IG-88. So okay. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I did write that down today. So I'm like 99% sure it's IG-88.
And something I am working on for Black Series. So side note, I have a lot of customs requests in the queue because I mass produce my customs. They're not one-off. I am actually working on some Black Series accessories. They're in the queue for me to get to, but some Black Series accessories for Cody's figures. So if anyone else is going to be interested in those, I will try and make those available to the public as well.
And when they are ready, whenever he gets to them, I'm not going to put pressure on my buddy here, but when he gets to them, I will be showing you guys live, just like he does with his Legos, because I want to, number one, give a shout out to this guy and all his custom work. And number two, I want to show you guys like how it looks with it. So I don't know. I might have said already in one of the other episodes what they were, but or at least what one of them was. But I'm gonna save it till when they're ready, and then I'll bring the figure on the show with the custom piece. Couple more things on my end. So for Hot Toys, they officially released the Mando Shore Trooper and the squadron or the I don't know what you would say, like the leader look of the Shore Trooper from Rogue One. Those are up for pre-order now on Sideshow. So if you guys are wanting those, they're slated to come out early of next year. So even though we're only in mid-January of 2021, they're already releasing products for next year, for next January, February. So there you go. There's some new Mando posters that are out. You can find them at Walmart. They're Mando Season 2 posters, so there's some Ahsoka in there. I think there's some Bo-Katan. Some must-haves if you're a big fan of Clone Wars. So those are hitting your local retailers, so go check those out if you're interested. And then finally on my end, there was a Ben Solo Funko Pop cited on Amazon UK. So clearly we're finally going to be getting more Rise of Skywalker products, which has been over a year since we've seen them hit shelves. I mean, if you take out Dark Ray in the Black Series, this will be another one of the Rise of Skywalker products. So after that, I'm going to pass it over to you for some Lego news.
Okay, thank you, Cody. So just want to point out something quick here. Carlos brought up. He's saying that if you want some background info on Thrawn or looking for additional, I guess, story plot points, a little bit of his history, you can go ahead and check out that resource right there. Thanks for that, Carlos. Appetite for Collectibles, thanks for joining us.
That's my girl Nilda. Yes, she's getting her YouTube up and going too. I had the pleasure of being here a couple weeks ago at her shop. She works at an awesome antique shop. If you guys live in South Florida, called Way Back When. We've got some awesome stuff, some throwback Star Wars, throwback everything. So.
Cool. Thanks for joining us. So I'll go over the Lego Star Wars releases real quick, or rumored Lego Star Wars releases. I went over them last week, so I don't want to go over too much time. So when I went over them last week, there was a lot of question marks regarding some things people thought they were going to be, they were rumored going to be. There was a lot of them that were debunked, and then sure enough, as soon as those were debunked, more came up and were rumored. I'll give you my thoughts because, I mean, I'm not going to go ahead and regurgitate something you can find on social media, obviously. But just as a summary, some of the big highlights were a Bad Batch shuttle. There was a rumored Death Star or AT-AT. Of course, we have next year's Advent calendar. There was a Darth Maul versus Ahsoka, like on Mandalore set. There was a Mandalorian Starfighter, and then there was like Moff Gideon's cruiser, like the one from the end of the Mandalorian. I'm going to focus on a few of these. So the $800 set, rumored $800 set. A lot of people seem to think it's an AT-AT or a Death Star. At least that's what the leaks seem to indicate. I am not going to be hasty in calling that's what it is, because I think a lot of people are leaving out the possibility that it could be a Starkiller base. I'm more of an original trilogy guy, so I would prefer actually the Death Star 2 would be my ideal set if they're coming out with that. But I don't want to leave out the possibility that it could be Starkiller base and not as rumors suggest. There is some rearranging regarding the figures that are included. So it was previously thought that Bo-Katan was going to come with the Moff Gideon cruiser. Suddenly, that has been debunked. She's coming with, I believe it was Gar Saxon and the Mandalorian fighter, but it was actually supposed to be Fennec that's coming in the Moff Gideon cruiser. So I do want to point out that that's what the rumors claim. But I do think that we need to take this with a grain of salt. That $30 mystery set, I mentioned this last time, it wouldn't surprise me if it is for, depending on when it is in 2021, it could even be a Boba Fett show set that gets released around Christmas time next year. So I don't want to, I want to throw that out there. If I had to make a call right now and guess my most likely set for that $30 set, I'm going to say it's probably going to be a final duel battle between Ben Solo, Rey, and Palpatine from Rise of Skywalker. That would be my guess, because the first Rise of Skywalker set wave was kind of lackluster.
Are you watching these comments? I know, well, you've been busy talking, but these comments are absolutely cracking me up. I usually never pay attention to the comments until after the video or like near the end, but this is hilarious. So we have Fluffy Banana. I don't know if you saw it, guesses on the $30 mystery set. And then under that we have Nip Slip, question mark. And then apparently somebody loves when I smile. I appreciate you, whoever you are. I don't know if that's, I honestly have no idea who that is, but I appreciate it. Yeah, look, they're apparently they're.
And anyways, you guys are hilarious. But yeah, so let me address that $30 set real quick. So I mentioned why I think it is. So Tyler's saying, it could be a battle pack. So I do think that that's a possibility. Now, let me address the whole gunship thing. I think, okay, so there's rumored to be a collector's gunship, big gunship. You know, if it is a collector's gunship, you see how many figures came with the Cantina. I'd expect that we get redone versions of the Jedi and maybe of Captain Rex or Commander Cody or something like that. Now, my suspicion is if it is a $30 battle pack or $30 set and it is Clone Wars related, I'm going to say that I think that we're going to get a clone commander in there, because I'm skeptical that they would throw them all in the gunship, because they're probably going to include grunts in the gunship. So I don't think they'll have time to, or space budget wise, to include all of the captains. That's just a thought. Yeah, he's married and I'm getting married. So
see, I don't know who Trex Bite Trex is. I don't know if. Okay. Anyways, moving on. All right. So thank you for that, Christian. Wow. These people are like distracting me tonight. But in other news, you know that we don't just keep it to Star Wars here. Sometimes when there's other news surrounding either Disney or anything Marvel related, we're going to report on it.
Disney. Basically, it's a Disney.
It's all under the same umbrella, okay? But big news, and this isn't 100% confirmed, all right? So please don't get mad at me if somehow the rug is pulled under all the fans. But supposedly, if you look on Google, 90% of these articles I've read are saying this by reputable sources, that Chris Evans has signed on to play Captain America once again. I don't know in what role or in what show, but if this is true, this will have made my day. And oh my God, would I love to see that, because, you know, Cap is my favorite. We don't talk Marvel a lot on here, but I will tell you Cap is my favorite. And in the spirit of Marvel, I had to wear my Quantum Suit hoodie today.
I see it.
So there's that. I know you're not a huge believer in that rumor.
No, because he went and tweeted, "Oh, it's news to me."
Yeah.
Like he tweeted that. Now, he doesn't seem. If it was someone like that has a comedic history, I would be like, oh, they're lying or something like that. But I honestly think that when he said it's news to me, he doesn't seem like the kind of person that would be misleading about that. So I'm more inclined to believe that it's not true. That being said, you all probably know that I'm not a huge Marvel fan or anything like that, but I do have to say, sorry, Carlos, I am on Team Captain America, so he is my favorite Avenger. So I'm just gonna have to say that.
Although I did love, I really like Iron Man, but after Endgame, I loved Iron Man. He didn't beat Cap, but he made it tough, both him and Thor, especially when we got Fat Thor. Like I can really relate.
And
to
then
that.
The fact that they threw Fortnite in there, I was just like, oh my god, I remember that.
All right, so we have that, and then also in the spirit of Marvel, tomorrow, guys, if you follow it, tomorrow is the kickoff of Phase 4 after a year and a half of waiting after Endgame. We are finally getting new Marvel content. Thank God. WandaVision starts tomorrow. So, yeah, it sucks that Mando's done, but we have WandaVision. We have Falcon and Winter Soldier starting a day before my birthday. And life is good if you're an MCU fan. Other news, Disney is doing away with their bus system from the hotels to the theme parks, or really any transportation on the resort property. They're doing away with it all next year for 2022. My guess.
On that, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but on that, there's something else that just happened like an hour or two ago about the annual passes. Did you hear that? In Disneyland? So.
Oh, yes. You know what I did? Yes, they were canceled. They're canceling.
Yes.
So that's some big news. I didn't have it in our notes for tonight, but that is huge news. I mean, it's not really a surprise considering your governor doesn't want to open anything up, but I mean, that they have to do what they have to do. They got to cut costs wherever they can. So
Youngling Yeater stop motion. So does anyone else think WandaVision looks bad? All right, so I will give you my perspective from a non-Marvel fan. I have always been a DC fan. That's probably because growing up, all I did was watch the DC animated stuff, and you know the toys that my parents bought me. It holds a special place in my heart.
Yep.
So just going to give you my perspective on WandaVision. I am slightly interested in it. I'm intrigued because I don't know what it is. Like I saw a commercial for it today. Like I wasn't looking for it or anything like that. It just popped up on TV, and I was like, this looks interesting. I don't know when this takes place. Is the entire thing about like a fake reality? I know nothing about it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and maybe watch the first episode and then see if, see what I think of it. Did I like Justice League? I didn't think it was horrible, but I didn't think it was good. To be honest, a lot of these superhero movies, whether it's Marvel or DC, in my mind, as much as I am a Star Wars fan and as much as I love Star Wars movies, even though it's a similar genre, a lot of these superhero movies don't stick with me. They seem easily predictable and
until the Snyder Cut.
And yeah, we'll see.
Snyder Cut. I'm not a DC guy, so we're like opposites in that way. But I'll tell you something. I probably will watch the Snyder Cut. The hype is real. I think it's going to be awesome. But
one can hope. I mean, Batman is my favorite. Is my favorite superhero. And then it would be Superman, and then it's Captain America. So those are my top three. Snyder Cut. I honestly think my bold prediction. It's either going to be really good or horrible, and I'm not sure which way it's going to go.
It's going to be really good,
but we'll see.
He put his heart and soul into this, and this was, I think, I forgot who it was in his family that died.
It was his daughter.
It was his daughter.
Yeah.
He put his heart and soul into this movie. So all jokes aside, like he's gonna give you guys the best he has.
Oh,
so if you're a DC fan, I think it's gonna be good. Do
you know who or I don't know how caught in DC you are, but if you are a DC fan, they did just confirm Martian Manhunter
is gone, right?
Is in the film.
Oh, he's in the film.
He's in the film.
Gotcha. In the film. That's right, Martian Manhunter. I was thinking of Cyborg.
No. Okay, Cyborg is still in the film. It's his involvement from Flash. There's a whole thing regarding the Cyborg actor. Main topic of this is Star Wars. We're not going to get into that, but there is some interesting development in the superhero media genre coming up. One more thing on Disney that I wanted to say, and then I'll pass back over to you, is the lights at the Ratatouille ride in Epcot are like on now. So
basically they're just waiting for like more guests to be able to come in before they officially open it.
Yeah.
That's what that means.
Yeah. So
they lost billions in revenue, so it's understandable why they're, you know, having to cut costs and be careful and conservative with things, but get ready for that one. Back to the question that was asked in the chat. Is it just you, or do you think that WandaVision looks bad? I personally, I'm excited. I'm not thrilled like I was with Mando or anything, but I think this show is going to be one of the most underrated shows that we're going to end up seeing on Disney Plus, period, out of anything. I have heard from the early reviews that it is phenomenal, and it's going to probably start to introduce us to the multiverse concept. And so I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to any post-Endgame stuff, because we know the world is totally different in the MCU. After Thanos is gone, after there's been like 4 snaps, RDJ's gone, you know, Cap is gone as we know him at least. So what happens with the MCU? And I'm going to save that for my segment with Seth whenever I can have him onto the show. So last bit of news here, and then we're going to get into the main topic, which we're going to circle back here to Star Wars. Last bit of news, Disney World and Disneyland are both not just considering, strong contenders for becoming like big COVID testing centers. So, I mean, I think it's admirable that they're trying to do that, especially because it'll give people more of, you know, a way to get tested for free, go through the drive-through, all that. But when you're struggling already because of COVID, I don't know why you'd like bring the problem to you in a way, you know. I mean, but you know, everybody's gonna have a different opinion on that, so you know, to each their own. And now, for the main event tonight, we have been discussing many of the new shows that they have announced for Star Wars in the upcoming years. We've talked about the Ahsoka series. We've talked about, obviously, Mando. And this is, guys, by the way, the first episode post-Mandalorian. This is the first time we won't be covering anything with Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. With that said, the show goes on, and there's a lot to talk about. So tonight's focus will be more on, number 1, the Obi-Wan series, and number 2, the Bad Batch. So first, because we touched on it a little bit last week, mm-hmm. Let's get into the Obi-Wan series. What do we think? What do we think this is going to be about? I mean, I know you said that you had heard rumors Commander Cody was going to be tasked by Darth Vader to go and hunt down Obi-Wan. But what is the main plot with this? Because I'm a little bit like, I don't know where this could go.
I agree with you. So as much as I want to see Obi-Wan Kenobi again, especially Ewan McGregor's portrayal. I mean, nothing against Alec Guinness. Alec Guinness is the one that gave us the character. He did a great job, and their personalities, you know, portrayed by both actors, is consistent. I gotta be honest with you. I agree with you. When they announced it, I was kind of like, you know, because we hear him. Oh, he's taking. We see the last time we see him after Revenge of the Sith. Really, I mean, other than like A New Hope, is he drops off Luke on Tatooine, and then that's it. And his uncle and aunt disappears. Yeah, and he basically disappears. And then we don't see him again until A New Hope, when he's much older. So I guess I like to approach this thing from a very engineering, logical way. Let's frame the problem. So let's go ahead and define our assumption. So our assumption here, and we've talked about this in the past, is that they keep Rebels in canon, which, given a lot of the talk about Rebels and how it might tie into some of these other live action, I'm going to go ahead and say 99% chance they're going to keep Rebels canon unless something abruptly happens. So let's go ahead with that assumption. The other assumption, or I guess fact that we know, is the constraint. So at the end of Revenge of the Sith, at the beginning of A New Hope, Obi-Wan has to be on Tatooine. And we also know if Rebels is canon, then Obi-Wan is on Tatooine and when Darth Maul's there and he kills Darth Maul. So that does not leave a lot of wiggle room, I guess what I'm getting at, for him to actually leave the planet. So my first question that I'm going to pose to you and to our viewers is, in this Obi-Wan series, as we're trying to figure this out, do you think Obi-Wan will leave the planet at any time?
That's a tough question. I think it would get a little old if they kept him on Tatooine. I think it would get old. That's just my opinion.
I agree. So my question is, though, is he supposed to watch over Luke, from a distance?
From a distance?
From a distance. So how binding is he going to be to that, in the sense of, is he going to be, I don't want to say like helicoptering from afar, but like if it's just, casual checkup on, then he could leave the planet and come back.
I don't know. I mean, I can't see them giving this series more than one season, first of all.
I agree.
I don't think they can do much more with it.
It's supposed to be a last gift to fans, I think, after the sequel trilogy.
I think so. In fact, I think a lot of these series, maybe with the exception of like Ahsoka, is going to be like more of a one-shot deal. I don't know.
There's another comment right there. In canon,
he's never left the planet. I don't know. I don't think he's going to leave. I mean, it's going to get, I feel like it could get boring because of it, but hopefully I'm wrong. I don't know. I think this series, they're going to try to do the best they can to tap into the emotions that were left over after the battle on Mustafar between Darth Vader and between Obi-Wan. And it will be about hunting Obi-Wan down because Darth Vader knows he's still alive.
Yes.
That's what's going to center around. And so how they're going to manage to do that on one planet, I don't know.
So I have a theory on that just popped in my head. I think, as common as we see in most apparently sand planets such as Jakku, I think there's going to be something with there being, I'm not going to say they're going to drop a walker off or something like that on Tatooine, but they could drop off some giant Imperial piece of technology or vessel. They could build some Imperial post or something. That way, part of the story is not against a sand background, because that would get boring. So I think that the second thing is addressing Carlos's comment. Oh, Yoda told me how to train. So my question is this internal training? Because if it's not, then he might have to go somewhere to do this training.
He might go to a Jedi temple.
It's possible. And then the other thing too is Liam Neeson said recently in an interview.
That's where I was going to go too.
Yeah, he still has the lightsaber, and he has it on a mount, and he's more happy to show up. So I'm going to go ahead and say that we're going to get a Liam Neeson.
This is where he's going to discover Qui-Gon, especially because at the end of Revenge of the Sith, they kind of leave us with that cliffhanger, and they've never addressed that. So It's kind of nice, and I think there's a purpose and a reason that they haven't addressed yet until probably the Obi-Wan series. I think he's going to learn things about the Force that he had never known, and he's going to be able to speak to Qui-Gon again.
I think he's going to see Qui-Gon as a ghost, and that's why Obi-Wan is going to be able to show up as a ghost in Return of the Jedi. They're going to add that bit in.
How about this? What if we see like Cal Kestis? And
I brought that up.
What if he goes to the temple that we see in Fallen Order?
I think that's possible. I mean, they already have an actor who would play Cal, obviously, because it was who it was based upon. Now, what I particularly find interesting, if I can branch off for a second here, to Fallen Order, to Battlefront. So in Battlefront 2, I forget her name, but Iden's actress looks like her,
right.
And then the same thing with Cal. So I would find it, and that's not commonly done. There'll be an inspiration here and there, but that's not commonly done. So to me, the idea that they made the character look like the actress indicates to me that they're leaving the door open to them actually physically
being in a live action.
And not saying it's going to happen, but it's better to leave the door open than to close it.
Well, why wouldn't it happen though? Because guess what, guys? If you hadn't heard, and I for some reason just remembered this, Lucasfilm has officially made Lucasfilm Games, and they're bringing all the Lucasfilm games and the Ubisoft games under one umbrella, so that they're all part of the Lucasfilm Disney.
And they're making an open world game. A lot of people said Clone Wars, but I personally think it's going to happen Mandalorian era.
Good.
I think we may see, if that game's canon. Maybe this is my wish, but I honestly think we're going to see another game around Battlefront 2 time era Mandalorian time era that's in between episode 6 and 7, and it would not surprise me if the game is canon and we see an official meeting between Luke Skywalker and Ahsoka.
Very possible.
I could see that, like in Fallen Order, they had a big moment of Vader showing up. I could see that being a big moment in this, but I think it's not going to be Clone Wars based. I think it's going to be, because we're already going to get Fallen Order 2. I think it's going to be up between 6 and 7.
If there's another, like, if I were to give you 2 or 3 shows, really 2 shows that I really I don't know what they're going to do much with outside of the obvious, like Obi-Wan, right? So that's what I've been saying. Obi-Wan is one of those shows. Outside of that Darth Vader Obi-Wan rivalry now, and maybe discovering Qui-Gon, like what other story do you have in his story that you can tell that hasn't been told to fans yet?
I think they could fight again.
They could. That's very possible, which would make fans like us and you guys super happy. But the other one that I'm really, really scratching my head on, and this is just kind of a segue for next week, is the Acolyte. I don't know what we're going to end up seeing in the Acolyte. Like, no idea.
Yeah, I heard things that it was like about the rise of like young. I have no idea if this is true, but I heard something was about like Palpatine when he was young, and we might see Plagueis and we might see young Yoda. I don't know if that's true.
Now that would be badass.
That would be interesting. Going back to the Obi-Wan versus Vader thing, the reason I bring that up is I actually just watched A New Hope the other day, and when he senses Vader, when he senses Obi-Wan's presence among the Millennium Falcon on the Death Star, I should say, he says something along the lines of, "I'm sensing a presence I have not felt since."
And he just he's quiet.
He doesn't say Mustafar or anything like that. So
yeah,
for all we know, there could have been. I mean, I know there's books and current comics that are canon, but they decanonize stuff right and left, like that media. So, but my point is, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see another meeting between Obi-Wan and Vader, or if it's not in person, I don't want to say like FaceTime, but some sort of connection between them, maybe telepathy or something like that. I think there'll be some connection between Vader and Obi-Wan that they'll reconnect again.
And keep in mind too, guys, we have seen Obi-Wan outside of the prequels and A New Hope. Do you remember when that was? Obviously Clone Wars, but
prequels and Rebels, we saw him.
Rebels.
Yeah.
It was Rebels. And when was that? That was when he found Darth Maul and confronted him for the last time in the desert.
So my question
Are we going to see Darth Maul?
Yeah, so I had that thought. Are they going to do a live action interpretation of his death? But my question is where does that Darth Maul death take place in that timeline between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope? Because if it's right up against A New Hope, we probably won't ever see anything to do with Darth Maul. If it's smack dab in the middle, we might get something with Darth Maul in there. I see someone, I think it was Carlos.
Inquisitors. I
Yeah.
love that. Inquisitors. Yes. I think we're going to see live action Inquisitors in this series. Mm-hmm. This is when we'll get it. That's a great point. I'm glad you guys brought that up. Youngling Yester Stop Motion. That's the full name.
Yeah.
Yep. That is a great point. I don't know. I think maybe I'll throw an oddball out there. Like, the more I think about it, maybe a young Boba Fett too.
It's possible. I definitely think it's possible.
More of his Empire Strikes Back look.
Yeah, I'm also not going to rule out we could get a cameo from Ian McDiarmid as Palpatine again.
We could, yes, we could.
So, I mean, the dude's literally been in...
He was born to play that role.
Yeah. Like, the fact that, if you didn't know this, like, his primary work was, like, drama and, like, Shakespeare, like, acting, and then George Lucas just found him and was like, I want that guy. And that's who they used. And I know, one of the supposed reasons is his ability to change his character in the sense that they could physically make him look old and menacing in Return of the Jedi, but he was only in his 30s when he did that role.
Yeah, right.
So
he was young because that was really him. Like, that was really him. And they actually brought him back for the prequels.
Yeah.
So last topic of conversation tonight, because we're going to try to keep this under an hour.
Yeah, I gotta leave for a bachelor party.
That's true.
And
yeah, this man's going to Galaxy's Edge for the second weekend in a row. I am so jealous. But
and we got fast passes.
And you got fast passes, so that makes it even better. But last one, and I'm pretty excited for this one, especially after the success of Clone Wars, is Bad Batch. I think people out there, I don't think I'm the only one, really are excited to see this film because we kind of got a glimpse of them in the last season of Clone Wars, and they kind of became fan favorites almost instantaneously. Instantaneously, not quite to the level that we saw Grogu, but they definitely became bigger characters. So I think once they have more of a backstory, it'll be nice. And as from what I've seen from the short clip that they have out already with the trailer, it
Fennec?
looks like, Fennec, number one, I almost guarantee you that's Fennec. We're gonna meet her and in more of a younger form, and then I also see it takes place right after Order 66 when the galaxy starts to rearrange itself, and we're gonna, I think, learn how the clones get dispersed or executed and how the stormtroopers become the main army of the Empire, because that is absolutely brilliant to think about that storyline. That's something we have not gotten yet, is what happened. I mean, we've seen Rex in Rebels and he's explained a little bit of it, but
and we don't know what happened to all the clone commanders. We know some of them didn't turn, some of them did. We really don't know the status of almost all of them.
And Tarkin is talking in that clip to the members of the Bad Batch. So I'm almost wondering if they don't hire the Empire commissions the Bad Batch to go and eliminate now the remaining clones. Could that be? I think that could
they could get tricked into doing something.
I think that could be the case. I don't see them. I know they're called the Bad Batch, but I don't know if I really see them being full bad guys.
No, they're not. I'd be shocked.
Yeah, and I think they're gonna go rogue on the Empire. Originally they'll work for them, but then they'll go rogue when they see what happens.
That makes sense. My only question. So of course there's a Lego set that's rumored with them, but my only question I'm gonna pose to you is, do you see this being? I think this is gonna be another case of it's gonna be a one-off season, and it wouldn't surprise me if they get killed at the end.
Yeah, I could see it
Rogue
being
One style.
Like I said, I think most of these outside of the Ahsoka, maybe they do more than one season with the Acolyte because we don't have much content in that time frame.
And the Boba Fett's possible.
Boba Fett, I think, is going to be a miniseries.
Do you think?
I think it's going to be a one-shot deal. I don't think they want to get too creative with his character anymore.
Okay.
And I think that's good. You should.
Do you think they're just going to kill him at the end? Well, we can discuss that another time. But I think
this is going to be a one-off deal.
I think a lot of these one-off deals logically are going to end with the main characters dying, a la Rogue One. But it gets to the point where I don't see them realistically saying, we're going to kill the Bad Batch, we're going to kill Boba Fett, we're going to kill, at that point, all these miniseries that they're coming out with, it's going to be predictable. You're gonna
I don't think all of them are going to die. I think they'll find a way to incorporate them so they just kind of go off on their own story, and they can revisit in comics and other canon, maybe in games. That could be the whole game umbrella. But ultimately, I think the only series they announced that truly has the kind of repertoire that it needs to go the distance is the Ahsoka series, because of how popular her character is, because of how much backstory she already has in all of our favorite Clone Wars and Rebels. I mean, and now in The Mandalorian. People are dying to see more Ahsoka, and an older Ahsoka at that, in live action. So I think that's the only one they're going to take more than one season.
And my last bold prediction on the Ahsoka, I think we're going to get a cameo from Ashley Eckstein.
That would be awesome.
I think we're going to get that. And also, side note, she was at Galaxy's Edge the same time I was last weekend.
She was?
Yeah, we were walking right outside the cantina, and then she was posting stuff on her Instagram story of her at the cantina. She was there at the same time. Yeah,
I would have asked you to get something signed for me if you would have had the chance.
We kept our eyes out. And what killed me is there were a bunch of people that were wearing Ahsoka masks and other stuff, and I'm like, how many people don't know that she's here? And sometimes people post stories later.
It's tough to tell though too, because everybody's wearing masks around. So.
Yeah, but you know how some people will post stuff after the fact, so you can't follow around. Well, posted up, she was hanging out with I guess some other fans in the community, another person does a show, but he was posting on his story that he was there right then, like with her, like, so 99% sure it was at the same time, but definitely.
She's always out and about at Disney. If you follow her on Instagram too, she lives, I'm pretty sure, in Orlando, which is where she was born. Either there or she lives on the west coast of Florida, somewhere. But she's a local nonetheless, and she goes like all the time. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if one of these times you get lucky and you're there at the same time and you actually run into her. So, I mean, do you have anything else on the Bad Batch that you'd like to address? Maybe somebody's got a question in the comments.
It'll be interesting to see, because I definitely think that the clone commanders will show up in there. So I think we'll know what happens to some of them. We'll know how Rex and Wolf, end up together. But it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. We may even see the beginnings of some of the starts of the threads and Rebels, if you will, some of the ravelings of the stuff that goes on there. We could get what's his name, Kanan. Mm-hmm. We could get him. He could show up.
By the way, speaking of Kanan, yesterday I was at that comic shop that I took you to, and they have a comic book of Kanan when he was younger, back in the Clone Wars. I almost bought it.
So yeah, I think it's more than possible. I'm a big fan of Star Wars. No one wants to see it end, but I think it gets to the point where, to keep the realism, they need to start stitching this stuff together and stop leaving so many gaps.
And they will.
So I think that it's going to start coming together, and I think at this point it's how they're going to be. In a few years from now, it's how they're going to be. You go before Episode 1 or you go after Episode 9. I think that's going to be the directions that we're going to go eventually, because all this insert like story in the middle of the timeline and then push everything else out. It'll.
So a couple things in the comment. So number one, Youngling said that he or she, excuse me if I'm wrong, I don't know. They want to see Rebel decanonized so we can get Maul more. Yeah, yes, that'd be a bold move. That if it were to give Maul more of an extension, it'd be, I guess, maybe more justifiable, but I don't think that's even close to what's going to happen, especially now that they're going to literally try to bring the entire Star Wars universe, comics, past, present, future comics, games, past, present, future, shows, movies, all of it's going to be under the Lucasfilm umbrella.
If we see Maul again, it's going to be in something related to Solo.
Yeah.
Because, I think it's
actually we could see him in the Lando series.
That's what I think.
Yeah, we could see him in the Lando series, which we'll get to that another day. Okay, Tyler says I need to pick up the Sideshow Lando skiff guard. So it's funny you said that. I called Tate's today to see if they had more in stock. They do. I'm gonna be heading down that way Saturday. I'm gonna probably stop there and take a look at it myself in person to see if it's worth it. I might pick it up. So I definitely could see that happening. Let's see, Carlos. It's an amazing comic, the Kanan comic. It looked, the cover looked badass. I mean, so I probably will at some point go back and grab that. I have the Marvel Unlimited app, and you can pull up any past comics that have come out within a year's time and read them via phone. So I have a subscription to that, and because the Star Wars fall under the Marvel comics, I can probably see if I can get it on there. But I definitely want to read it at some point. So that's good to know, Carlos. Thank you.
So I guess it's time to show the Luke, the Mandalorian Luke, maybe.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have tuned out based on that. So they're missing out.
Yeah, so I've been, for those of you that don't know, I work on customization of some Lego figures. Basically, fans in the Star Wars community will give me some requests, and I go off and make them. And I usually do, it's a limited quantity. But the point is, they're not one of one. They're usually like limited to 30 or something like that. So
special edition.
Special edition. First one I did was Darth Maul, based on his Rebels and Battlefront 2 Old Master appearance. The current one, which I am about to show you, his final prototype, his production prototype, is a Mandalorian Luke Skywalker, like as he appears in there, with. You'll see custom printed torso, custom hairpiece, everything. Some others that I have working smaller, but they're actually going to be kits. I have BD1, coming out. I have a they're all escaping me, a Lothcat coming out, and I have the Moray Owl. I have that coming out. Babu Freak. I already have Babu Freak, so you know what I'll do? I'm actually working on my website right now. I'm going to try and publish it tomorrow. And then for the big limited edition releases, I'll go ahead and put a countdown timer. Got swamped with grad school this week, so it was a little, want to have it up earlier, but Babu Freak is done. So what'll happen is I'm going to put up some pre-orders for these. As soon as I get the number of people that want them, I'll go ahead and have the manufacturer make them. As soon as I get them in, I'll ship them out. I'll order a few extra. Babu Freak painted. I'm deciding that. I'm pretty skilled with painting. So if it did come painted, that would be a special thing for me. I haven't ruled it out. Now, for the whole painting thing, I'm going to get to that in a second with the way I show you I did Luke, because I actually didn't paint Luke. So let me show you how you can also make a custom here. So let me show you the torso first. So hopefully the camera can focus a little bit better. I don't know if I can get it to focus any better, but you can see he has his belt. He has his robes replicated based on screenshots from the Mandalorian here. And then he is printed on the back like an official Lego figure. I do apologize if it's a little blurry, but I went through scene by scene, frame by frame, and designed this artwork myself. So I had the artwork printed onto the body, so you can see it there. Now to actually show you the final product, here is the final product for Luke. So you actually see, ooh, he focused for like a second right there. Okay, well, anyways, he actually comes with a custom lightsaber that was made by another customizer, but you can see he has that beautifully printed torso. He comes with a cape. It's not an official Lego cape. It's actually a special custom cape that goes over his shoulders more, a little bit like a robe. Now, the cool thing about him is, I don't know how well it's showing, but the custom hairpiece based on Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian Return of the Jedi. So it looks in hand almost like a Lego part. This was actually made using a polymer powder 3D printing technique. It came in white, and then what I did is I actually used synthetic dye to dye Luke's hair the appropriate color. So a little bit of an advantage over about dye over normal paint is the dye is way more durable. The dye is actually going in there, and really the color is sinking deep. And then what I did is I went ahead and sprayed a clear coat onto Luke's hair here, and it gives the final appearance of basically a Lego hairpiece. So is it perfect? Like, not perfectly. Like, if you look close, you can tell it's not a Lego part, but if you have it on a shelf, if you have it a few inches away from you, it's going to look just like a Lego part. So as far as some of the techniques go for coloring figures, dyeing, once you get the technique down, it's actually way easier than painting. So any of my products are going to come colored. The main color will actually be dyed, and then the rest of them, like the small details, will be painted. That way, it makes the most durable product possible. So answering question, how durable is the body compared to an actual Lego minifigure? This is an actual Lego body in the sense that it was a blank black Lego body, and I did the artwork, converted it to a vector image, and then sent it to someone with a UV printer, and they went and printed like the design onto him. So it's made of official Lego parts. The only parts that aren't official is the cape is custom, the lightsaber hilt is custom, and the hair is custom. But like the actual artwork is printed on official Lego, and everything's durable. People have the Darth Maul. People have already been posting pictures of it. They've received it, but it looks and feels the same pretty much all over. The hair has like I put some waves in it, and it's nice because when the dye soaks in, it adds a little bit of texture to it. It's fairly evenly distributed, but it's not perfect. It's ever so slightly a little bit different to look textured and like real hair, because we really don't have an updated hair piece for Luke. So Tyler, I see you're asking those questions. Hopefully those answers your questions. But yeah, I have like 30 Luke bodies. Actually, that table behind us is where I've been assembling them and getting them ready. So you'll have the Luke hair available for purchase separately as well. So it'll come with the figure, but if you want like extras, you can purchase it separately. And what will happen is once I get the pre-order count, I'll go ahead and order them from manufacturer. They'll come in, and then I actually have Cody sees my jar of dye that is just sitting on the counter for his hair. They're just sitting there. As soon as I get all the hair pieces in, they're all going to go into the vat. I'm going to treat them and then spray them with the finish. And each Luke will get a hair piece that looks just like this. So definitely, I would say, in my opinion, the camera quality doesn't do it justice. But
it really doesn't. It doesn't, guys. You guys wait till if you get your hands on this thing, do it fast first of all. But it's if you're a Lego fan, you're gonna love it.
Or even not, if you're just a fan of Luke Skywalker, if you're a fan of Luke Skywalker and you look at this, you're just gonna be like,
I love it.
I want one.
That's my favorite version of Luke too, is the Return of the Jedi look, and I guess
it's really like his prime Luke. Yeah.
Yeah, I got. By the way, too, I picked up on eBay. They were selling, somebody from China selling like 1/6 scale cloaks, like the black cloak. So I grabbed one for like $10. So that's currently shipping. So I can give my hot toy the look from the, because I have the same like robes to put over him. And you guys might have seen my posts a little while back, but believe it or not, guys, that is the only hot toy I hadn't let go of from the time I started collecting them. That is the only one.
It's Luke Skywalker.
Because it's Luke Skywalker, and it's my favorite. So when people ask me what my favorite hot toy is, normally I think it's Mando, but then when I think of like why I've held on to Luke for so long, I gotta say it's probably him. He's stood the test of time and all the turnover that I've had in my collection. So, and now if you look at the price, like it's crazy.
So there's one more thing. It pertains to Lego, but it can also pertain to Black Series and Hot Toys. So I didn't know this until recently, but I saw some companies and some people making their own capes. Like if you feel it, I mean, I don't know if you felt it, but it's a cloth, but it's like a stiff cloth.
It's a stiffer cloth, yeah.
So you can actually buy fabric paper from like Amazon and print on it, directly on it, throw it in a printer, and it'll print it because it's thin enough.
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, you need to be careful the printer doesn't get jammed, but it's made for the intention of you printing directly on it. So some of these capes and stuff, whether it be for, a simple pauldron or an actual cape of this material, you can make custom items. So if you all, are looking, for any cloth or anything like that, check it out, because there are solutions that don't involve sewing and all that other stuff and simple cutting, because you can cut this.
I did buy, if you guys too collect Black Series and you're looking for more like soft good capes, I found a really good person on Instagram. I'm sure if you messaged them, like they'd probably do stuff for your Legos too, if you wanted to do it. But they're called Fine Scale Altier. I'll probably, maybe, assuming I remember, I'll try to put it on our story at C2's Cantina on Instagram. But they're really good at making like soft good cloaks, and they made one for the Luke Skywalker Black Series with that look, and I ended up buying it. So I did that, and then they also, for any of you guys that don't know, come to me and message me if you need like me to point you to where they are, like what. But they're making a Moff Gideon soft good cape. And I'm gonna probably get that one too, but it looks really good. They even do it so much as like you get to choose if it's wired or non-wired. But yeah, there's a lot of good, whether you customize it yourself as far as the cape goes, or you want to pay somebody to do it. There's a lot of good stuff out there.
And just to put it out there, like because I've had numerous requests on this, and this might have just addressed Tyler's question. Carlos, I'll get to your comment in a second. But for customs, I do a lot of 3D design. I do a lot of the artwork design. I do dyeing. I do painting. As you've seen, Cody does a lot of painting. He just did his first custom. I've had requests that actually,
which Tyler brought that up.
Yeah. So I've had requests can you make a video on showing your process, right? Obviously, I'm not going to show all my tricks that make it a standout, like the hair piece, but how do I design my own Lego minifigure parts? How do I design my own Black Series parts? How do I tolerance things? I think that's important to go over. Painting technique. So definitely, we're going to be trying to get, we're busy with some things now, trying to finish those off. But
as the year goes on, guys, you can expect more individual videos. My biggest problem, I'll be real honest, why I haven't released new videos is because, number one, I mean, yeah, I've had the time at times, but I just started a new job. And I don't have, my GoPro, unfortunately, is an older model. And the laptops that we own, they have no storage space for me to be able to do stuff. And I've tried moving that space around, can't clear enough of it. So I'm gonna have to figure something out. But yes, once things settle down for you after your wedding, once I'm able to get my hands on a nice camera and maybe even a new laptop, then we will start doing more one-on-one videos.
Especially tutorials, because people want to know how to do things.
Exactly.
And, we can go through how to design the Black Series parts that I'll be working on. These Lego parts, painting. We can show a video of me dyeing, the process for dyeing things, right? Because there's a lot of people on the internet that post things and they don't know what they're talking about, or they do it wrong, or they do it in an unsafe way. So really, how do you do things safely, efficiently, and cost effective?
Cost effective is the biggest one, honestly. That and safety, but definitely.
And then Carlos,
he studied engineering,
electrical. Yeah. So I did FAU dual enrollment while in high school. I got shipped off to FAU during the summers. So I'm part owl, but I went to UCF for my undergrad in Orlando. I studied mechanical engineering, and I work as a systems engineer now. But yeah, doing my master's with Ohio State Online in engineering leadership and autonomy and control system. It's kind of like a dual track thing.
He's a smart guy.
Occasionally I have my moments.
You are very smart. From the time we were in elementary school, you've been very smart. He always was on honor roll. He was safety patrol. This guy was my safety patrol leader when we were in 5th grade. So, and you have to be the best of the best to be like the safety patrol leader. Okay, Tyler, to answer your question, not at the moment. I don't have anything planned, especially because it was so much work and time. Because I got, my wife and my little one.
Let's dye parts. You'll see how to do it quickly and.
I would love to actually.
And easily.
I would love to. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think. Well, I know you've been busy, so I haven't wanted to bug. But once things slow down, I would love to see that. Mm-hmm. But no, to answer your question, I don't have anything planned unless something comes along and I get an idea. It just takes away a lot of time for something that big, for my family. And I'm already out hunting, like figure hunting. I'm doing this show Thursday nights, and your kids only stay little for so long. Mm-hmm. I want to cherish that time. So whenever I have a free time, I like to give it to my family.
And thanks, Carlos. Good luck in your career too. Looks like you'll be starting here up shortly if you haven't already.
Carlos is a big time collector too. He's got some. I've seen pictures on his Instagram. He's got some legit stuff. I'm trying to pry some hot toys away from him, hopefully at some point soon. So I saw your message too on Instagram, so I'll go look at that now. Maybe we can try to do something this weekend, Carlos. So with that being said, we're going to end literally right under an hour. Mm-hmm. So this guy can get to bed and go have fun at his bachelor's party. So I don't have a question for you guys unless Christian does. Do you have a homework question?
I guess my homework question is going to be, as we want to ramp up these extra videos, or, maybe some weeks we do talks, other weeks we'll actually go through and do a tutorial on how to make something. I guess your homework is tell us what other video you want to see from us. You want a tutorial, you want to see us make something, you want to see us design something, paint something, dye something, shoot us a message.
Different categories too. It doesn't always have to be Star Wars, guys. I'm open to, I'm going to start doing Marvel. We can do that. We could even dive into DC. I'm not a huge fan, but I'm totally down to talk DC. I know this guy would be too. Whatever it is, category, just different approach, on some videos. This will still be the premise at the end of the day. Will be Star Wars and kind of theory based, but we're always here to listen to suggestions and provide you guys with some good content. So we'll call it a night right there.
Yeah.
Right under an hour.
All right. Everyone have a great weekend.
Yes.
See
Have
you
a good
next
one, guys.
week.